Good evening. It is November 11th, 2021. And first of all, I apologize for the late upload if anyone was waiting on it. I was just out doing some family stuff today, so I got some screen time in the morning, and then after that, it was pretty much just whatever I came back to just now in the past like 45 minutes. This is what I got. So I did. Oh wow, there really wasn't a lot of price action. I'm just realizing because I walked away right around here. That was at 10:15, and so this was the next 3 hours, and that's not really much. So I probably these two trades, you'd really be feeling aggressive entering on those because of the lack of consistency with these highs, which Mac was talking about in a video the other day. But anyway, let me not get off on a tangent, and let's just talk about the trades. Clearly, you can see this was a range day, and this is yesterday's opening price. You can see in the overnight we made like a double test up there, and then we just ranged. And really, what I would think is this range that I was looking at later in the morning, these highs and these lows, this looks like it's just the overnight highs and lows broken down into like 4 equal parts. If you can see what I'm talking about and understand what I'm talking about. So that's just more market geometry for you. You can see prices tested today's opening price just now. We didn't make it all day. We went down for the rest of the day and never came back and tested that price. And you can see, look at that, yesterday's closing price. It took us all day to come and test that. Very interesting. Anyway, so again, in the overnight, we came up, tested that overnight or yesterday's open, and we formed this congestion. And there's nothing in that. I was up early, and I looked at this and I jumped in to congestion. I think here on this second entry, and I think that's also it looks like a failure to, oh wait, it is a failure because this is a new low. First failed second entry, and I put my stop beneath this signal bar. So yeah, it would have filled, but that's just poor behavior. And then right after that, I jumped in on this bar, which is just at the top of congestion, so that's just silly. But anyway, I'm supposed to go over my trades at the end of my videos. So really what this looked like to me is like, I had this channel drawn like something like that, but I don't think that's it. I don't think that did anything. You can see that it looks like it works off the highs and the lows, but it just didn't really carry any weight. And that's probably why this failure worked, is people were going long right there. But yeah, I just don't think that carried any weight. Anyway, whoops. So towards the market open, we start trending down, and we got this first leg down. So if you enter, this is a new high, first entry, failed second entry, long off the trend line. So if you enter on that, you might make your runner target down here at the measured move, and look at that. You get a perfect measured move. Perfect 2 legs down. We get this leg down and right here, and that's just, I just couldn't believe it. And I was like holding on to it because I was like, that looks like where I should put my target, but I'm going to hold on to it, see if it tests yesterday's close. And that was a very valuable lesson to me. And I could have held it all day, probably. Oh wait, no, you would have gotten stopped out. But yeah, I held it all the way to here, and look at that. It triggers those people, and then it goes exactly where you think it's going to go. That's funny. Is that the high? Yeah, that's the high before it tests the close. So that's really funny. Anyway, I'm talking a lot. We get an overshoot of this channel, and that leads to a break, and you can see this yellow channel. It's a leg of correction. There's no setups to go long in here. The first time you would think about it would be right here, and that's a reasonable trap. I think I went long on my practice account or something. That's a reasonable place to get trapped, because you're thinking it's going to test the opening price, but that is clearly congestion. This is a failure, and it looks congestive, but these bars aren't really overlapping. These two are, but then this one isn't really, and then this one's a higher body, so it just felt a lot different than this. This was clearly congestion. I knew I had no business answering on that. But it is off the trend line, and I was thinking we would go and test the opening price, and we haven't had a break, so I think it's pretty, for lack of a better thing to say, a reasonable place to get trapped. But I mean, that congestion is just vicious. So we make that high, and we're expecting a move to a new low from this channel, so you get oh, that's okay. This is a failure here. I was like, wait, where's the first entry? But the first entry is right here, one tick higher. Second entry, and this looked bullish, so I was like walking away. I was hoping that this would be bearish, so I was thinking about walking away. But then when we get this signal bar, go short beneath that, put your stop above this one. That's a good failure. And I don't think I did a measured move on this one. Oops. Well, let's check this out, because this might be a... Oh, yeah, I did do a measured move on this one. And I ended up holding it, and it ended up, even through all this, because I think I might have walked away. You get the scalp, and then it comes back. It doesn't hit your target, but then after a couple swings, it does come down. So yeah, we get this channel and we get a break in one, looks like 2 legs down to a new low here, and we bounce at this level of support. I think that might match up with that stem right here. I only drew that after this swing, so I wouldn't have been playing this or anything, but you get this first entry, and it looks like a higher low, but it's just the first entry. And then you get this second entry, and I'm not going to mark this with an arrow just because I don't want to be entering unless it sets up even better than this, like no congestion here. I don't know. I don't think at this midline of the overnight highs and lows, we haven't made it down to the overnight lows yet. It just seems a little risky. So, and that does become congestion right here, and maybe that's what I was thinking about. These are all pretty much, they look like they're inside this bar. They're not quite, and you can see this one gaps down. So this one gaps down too. Interesting. But anyway, this is a leg up, and this was just, I drew this measured move to see if that would convince me enough to go short here, and I think it would. So I don't think you can enter any of this. This is too congestive. But when we get this first entry, second entry, it matches with these highs. It looks close to a measured move up. You might consider going short there. That's the second entry short. Look at all that room back to the EMA. And you can see plenty of other traders thought that was a good entry as well. It's a big move down. Oh, you know, I also had some congestion marked. Now I'm remembering. Right here. So these dojis made me draw some congestion there, and I think I matched the midline up with these closes here. And so I was waiting for a lower high back into congestion, but we never got that. You get this lower high, but that's too far down. We don't know where prices are going there. And then you get this bounce right here, and that almost confirms this trend line, but it's also a second entry long. It confirms this level of support pretty much. Now we come back, we hit the midline, and then we bounce here again, and that's a third entry, first, second, third entry, so it's not a second entry, but it's a higher low. So I do like that, but sometimes these fail. But when we get this first, second entry, and it's a higher low off here, I'm taking that personally. And then you get if you don't take that, you get a first failed second entry short right here. I'm taking that. I took both of those on my practice account. So I really like that. But then we come back and find resistance here. So you might consider this one right here, but it's just a first entry. And then you get a first entry, second entry, and I'm not going to take that because this is clearly very strong support right here. So I don't want to take that. That doesn't seem like a high probability trade right there. So I don't want to take that. So I'm not going to mark that. I don't want that in my psyche or whatever to think that those work. It looks like we have a break and a move to a new low. We did get two legs down to a new low before a reversal, but I don't know. I don't want to take that. I think I would be more comfortable taking this at that strong level of support. And if you don't take that, you get this double test of this price level. So really looks like a 1 test, 2 test, 3 test. So I'm going to take that first, and that looks like a failed second entry, but that's congestive. And look, we're not making it. We haven't made it to these highs for a while, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. You're going into the midline. I would and this is definitely looking congestive. I think in real time I'd be tempted by that, but after the fact, you see how congestive this is. So this is all too much congestion too. So I've been talking a lot. I wonder how long this video is. But let's take a look at the trades I took. Super eager this morning and just not making good decisions. And I'd rather just work out. If we're in congestion like this in the overnight, I should really just work out. Like I said, I took this. It's a second entry long with a terrible signal bar, and it's also a first failed second entry short. And you get 3 ticks in your favor before people whose stops were right here would get stopped out. I put my stop right here, so I would have gotten my targets hit, but this is just a bad entry no matter what. And then I entered long above this bar, which I've been watching Mac talking about like triple tests. I think he's had one in his chart yesterday and 2 days ago. And this is just not, I already know. I don't even have to check. I'm going to go back and check, but this isn't the same context. So it's just not. Don't answer this. This is clearly congestion. We have dojis all over the place. We probably had 2 measured legs up. Yeah, so maybe we hit that measured move, maybe maybe that started right here, you know. So it's just, don't take that. Terrible idea. Okay, let's see what else I took. I took this failure. I have no problem with that. There's some dojis in here, but it didn't feel like congestion. Especially when you get this signal bar, beautiful signal bar. What did I do here? Oh, that's just from this. I went long here. Interesting. Oh yeah, I already knew that. Got tempted. And this did really have a correction leg feel, so I wish I could have felt that out. But just be patient, man. Like, it's so true. Whenever you feel like entering and you're not sure, it's almost guaranteed that there's a good trade around the corner. And that's what happens right here. You get a nice failure right here. And I took that, and I really like that move. I think that's all I took on my quote-unquote real account for today. So that's all I got for today. I hope everyone had a good day, and I'll be back tomorrow.